Shoppers scrambling for cover, shocked and scared.
Every 5 seconds, we just heard running and then boom, boom, boom.
From New Jersey to Illinois.
Kids hitting each other, kids trampling each other, so it was just madness.
Ohio, Connecticut, North Carolina, Colorado, and Indiana.
Store associates, like, everybody get back, and they're like putting the door down.
Chaos and commotion inside more than a dozen malls, most caught on cell phone cameras. Had police rushing in as panicked shoppers rushed to get out. Police now revealing a loud noise during a food court fight in New Jersey was mistaken for gunfire. In Tennessee, fireworks igniting inside a store started a brawl. And police in Aurora, Colorado say the fights there were organized on social media.
There was something that was going around on social media about a fight that was going to take place here at the town center of Aurora, which is what drew all of these people who were up to no good to our mall.
This morning, police in other cities say their investigation is continuing to see if social media is to blame. In all, dozens were arrested across the country, most for disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, but thankfully, no serious injuries.
One business in Dallas is banking on a unique way to help you deal with your anger. Don Champion has the details.
Have you ever been so angry you just wanted to smash something? At this Dallas warehouse, people can. It's called the Anger Room. Morgan Churchill came here with her little sister, looking to relieve a little stress from school.
Doing bad things is fun, you know. You don't get to break stuff every day.
For $45, they suit up in safety gear, pick their weapon, then get 15 minutes to smash anything they want. From a TV to a mannequin, a desk, and lots of dishes.
It's just a way to release the anger.
Donna Alexander created the Anger Room in 2008 in her garage.
I started getting strangers at my door like a month later saying, is this the place to break stuff?
With more and more people looking for a release, she kept moving into larger spaces, from people upset over work to the newly divorced and even frustrated reporters.
You can hear things about workplace with people who hate their bosses or hate their coworkers. Yeah. Cameraman.
This isn't the only place cashing in on anger.
So cool.
Similar businesses have popped up in Canada and Houston. Alexander is looking to expand to Las Vegas next year and eventually New York.
It's amazing. It's just a really amazing feeling.
Making this business a smashing success.
Next, another scare late today, this one inside Trump Tower. Take a look at this video. New York City police telling people to evacuate the lobby after reports of a suspicious backpack. It turns out it was a false alarm, the bag containing only children's toys.
Your smart home devices can be pretty cool and helpful, but now there's a question of whether they could be used in a crime investigation. A man was found dead in a hot tub in Bentonville, Arkansas last year. Police say the property owner murdered him. Now authorities want Amazon to fork over the data from the suspect's Amazon Echo to see if it recorded any evidence. Amazon's Echo responds to voice commands and is always listening for its wake word, or the command to tell it to start paying attention to instructions. The device records the commands, and that information is stored in servers. So the police probably aren't going to find audio recordings of a fight or murder, but they could see if the Echo answered any incriminating questions. Amazon denied police any recorded information collected on its servers twice, but it did give investigators the suspect's account information and order history. The case could have serious privacy implications if the Echo data holds up as evidence in court. The defense attorney in the case argues there's an expectation of privacy in a person's home, and that should prevent authorities from using the ambient data collected by smart devices against a suspect in court.
The professor at Drexel University under a lot of fire this morning for a tweet he posted over the holiday weekend about white genocide.
Well, the university has condemned that tweet. The educator isn't backing down.
Yeah, a lot happening here that really has a lot of students puzzled, even talking about this as they were off over break, at least for the weekend, because that's when all of this came down. Let's get right over to the tweet. We'll show you what we're talking about here. Associate Professor George Ciccarello Mayer tweeted, quote, "All I want for Christmas is white genocide," close quote. You can see Philly Voice grab the tweet, which has gone viral itself, along with the story picked up by national and international media. Now, the professor, who is white, called the tweet satire designed to mock white supremacy. He actually teaches race relations.
This next story may have the father of our country turning in his grave like cotton candy in a machine. The College Fix reporting that history majors at George Washington University are no longer required to take classes in U.S. history. It's a new policy the university says will help students keep pace with a, quote, globalizing world. This is terrifying, this academic relativism, because it's as though in a medical school you wouldn't have to take any courses in medicine.
No, exactly.
Doesn't it seem a little insane?
Of course it is. I wish I would say it's silliness or insanity, but it is now the standard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what is being taught across not just elite universities, but universities everywhere.
Russia, China, and Pakistan warned the influence of Islamic State was growing in Afghanistan and that the security situation there was deteriorating. The Russian Foreign Ministry said representatives from the three countries agreed to invite the Afghan government to such talks in the future. Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova told reporters the three countries expressed particular concern about the rising activity in the country of extremist groups, including the Afghan branch of IS. The United States was not invited to the Moscow talks.
Slaughter its way to legitimacy.
On Tuesday, Russia stated that the U.S. decision to reduce restrictions on arming Syrian rebels would open the way for deliveries of shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles and would directly threaten Russian forces in Syria. Maria Zakharova, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, said that the policy change easing restrictions on weapons supplies had been set out in a new U.S. defense spending bill and that Moscow had regarded the step as a hostile act. The annual defense policy bill was signed into law last week by U.S. President Barack Obama, who had been sharply critical of Russia's intervention in Syria.
Serious allegations are coming from the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as he has accused the US-led coalition of supporting terrorist groups.
In the beginning, the coalition said that they were going to fight ISIS. They were even accusing us of supporting ISIS. Now they have all disappeared. On the contrary, they are supporting terrorist YPG PYD, including ISIS. It's very clear. We have confirmed evidence with pictures, photos, and videos.
The U.S. State Department on Tuesday rejected the accusations as ludicrous. Spokesperson Mark Toner says the claim is baseless, and Erdogan has made the same accusation in the past. On the visit to Pakistan in November, Erdogan said the West stands by Daesh or ISIL, and the Turkish president says the terrorist group's weapons are Western-made.
Israel is doubling down on their public feud with the Obama administration, saying they have ironclad information proving Washington's role in last week's UN resolution declaring Israeli settlements illegal.
At today's briefing, State Department Deputy Spokesman Mark Toner tried to deflect the blame.
We did not take the lead in drafting this resolution. That was done by the Egyptians with the Palestinians.
A senior Israeli official told me tonight that he has information the U.S. may try to propose another resolution in the coming weeks, preempting Israeli-Palestinian negotiations. That said, Secretary of State John Kerry is expected to make remarks tomorrow about his vision for the future of Israeli-Palestinian negotiations, a speech that Israeli leaders will be closely watching.
The UN resolution says Israeli settlements in the West Bank and eastern Jerusalem have no legal validity and demands a halt to Jewish building. Israel won the territory in the 1967 Six-Day War. About 500,000 Israelis live there in biblical Judea and Samaria and eastern Jerusalem, but Palestinians want it for a future state.
France is set to host a Middle East peace conference on January 15th in Paris. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman, though, has made Israel's feelings clear on the conference, calling it a convention whose sole aim is to harm the security of the State of Israel and its good name. He went on to compare next month's summit to a tribunal against the State of Israel, like the Dreyfus trial of 1894. The French Foreign Ministry has responded to Lieberman's comparisons, saying that the conference was organized to reaffirm the international community's commitment to two sides living side by side in safety and security, and to re-emphasize how crucial the two-state solution is. Israel will not be in attendance and has made clear the position that only direct negotiations with no preconditions can result in a lasting peaceful outcome.
The Secretary General of Lebanon's Hezbollah resistance movement has called on all Muslims to continue supporting the Palestinian cause and the resistance bloc in the region. Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah said the future belongs to the resistance bloc in the region as a result of the sacrifices it has made and its steadfastness against Israel.
The Hezbollah terror organization has recently been bolstering its military strength with the help of its Middle East partners. This is now sparking an arms race by causing Israel to believe it should also acquire more missiles to counter the rising threat from Lebanon.
Intelligence indicates that in addition to 100,000 short-range rockets, Hezbollah now has Syrian Scuds that can strike 435 miles into Israeli territory. The terror group even allegedly has several kinds of ballistic missiles with 155-mile ranges, and Iranian Zilzals capable of striking 124 miles away. This deadly arsenal is stashed just over Israel's northern border, and it's making defense officials very nervous. They're now considering the bolstering of their own supplies with the extra rocket mobile system capable of accurately delivering 265-pound warheads 93 miles away. While Hezbollah poses the most significant threat, there are also rising concerns over the Hamas terror group, which has also been expanding the size of its own missile cache just over Israel's southern border.
The leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution has called for boosting the country's might in the face of arrogant powers' hostile acts. Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei says arrogant powers are trying to undermine Iran's power. Therefore, the nation must increasingly strengthen its might.
On the second phase of Defenders of Velayat Sky 7 drills in southern Iran, Iranian Army's Khatam al-Anbiya air defense base successfully test-fired its new generation of Mersad and Yazahra 3 mid-range missile systems.
Our industry is active in defense sector, and also the air defense base constantly try to upgrade and update defensive systems, including surveillance, missile and artillery units and other capabilities.
In line with the Iranian Armed Forces policy to constantly test their readiness in different combat conditions, domestically made Aseman communication system was also launched for the first time. The system enables a safe and secure connection for troops within the range of 150 kilometers. This phase of the operation, that included staging Iranian armed forces military capabilities in various fields, indicates the country's strong willingness to keep up with the latest developments, making it one of the strongest forces in the region.
Now, where a small earthquake shook the Malibu coast this morning, and while it registered as a 3.3, a mild earthquake to say the least, could this be a precursor to that big one? RT's Brigida Santos has more for us. Brigida, 3.3, that's normal, not even really something that's going to catch headlines for you guys in California. But why does the magnitude of this morning's quake really matter?
So this really matters basically because we haven't had a big one in a long time. In fact, we are about a century overdue, according to scientists. So people are worried. And even though this was a small 3.3 magnitude, at least 300 people did report some mild shaking. And they were making these reports of everywhere from Malibu to Calabasas and Thousand Oaks, which are nearby. But people are worried because we're so far overdue.
I want to turn to a very different kind of security concern this morning. This one outside of Detroit. It involves a massive sinkhole that opened up there on Christmas Eve. More than a dozen homes had to be evacuated, people running out with their Christmas gifts in hand.
This morning, a state of emergency in Fraser, Michigan. A sinkhole threatening this entire neighborhood.
We're a small town and something big has happened.
The sinkhole devouring everything above it. Authorities concerned it will grow. Homes hanging in the balance.
We kept running in and out as much as we could until police officers told us that we could no longer go in because it was too dangerous.
This isn't a new problem for this town. In 2004, a massive 160-foot sinkhole opened on the same road, shutting it down for nearly 10 months. But this new sinkhole even larger, and officials say it could take even longer to fix. Authorities blaming it on a collapsed sewer pipe 45 feet under the ground. Residents being urged to stay away.
Right now, a powerful rainstorm in Australia causing flash floods, closing the park where tourists come from all over the world to see the Ayers Rock landmark. Record rain also creating an indelible scene at the park, a series of waterfalls transforming that desert region as streams of water were pouring from the mountaintop. Rare and cool.
Hong Kong has seen this winter's first bird flu death, which is also its first and only human case of the disease this season. According to local media on Tuesday, the 75-year-old man was infected during a visit to neighbouring Guangdong province in mainland China last month, where he bought a chicken from a market. Suffering from chest discomfort, the man was taken to hospital upon his arrival back in Hong Kong earlier in the month. He died on Sunday after testing positive for the H7N9 strain of bird flu. More than 50 people who had contact with the victim, including the people who lived with him, have been placed under medical surveillance.
The price of eggs has risen between 50 and 100% in the past month at some stores due to a lack of supply. The continued spread of avian influenza at poultry farms across the country has resulted in the culling of some 26 million chickens to stop the outbreaks. According to the Korea Agro Fisheries and Food Trade Corporation, which monitors food prices, a carton of 30 eggs was selling for 7,500 won at a market in Gwangju, South Jeolla province. That's about $6.20, a rise of more than 56% from a month ago.
Cheetahs are getting dangerously close to becoming extinct. According to a new report, cheetahs have been driven out of 91% of their historical habitat. Only about 7,000 of the majestic, speedy cats are left in the wild. Cheetahs are currently listed as a vulnerable species on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List, but the new report says the cats should be upgraded to the more urgent endangered classification as soon as possible because their numbers are dramatically declining. The main threats cheetahs face are human-related: conflict with human populations, overhunting, habitat loss, and illegal trafficking. And they encounter these dangerous situations both in and out of conservation areas. Scientists say because cheetahs can adapt and thrive outside of protected areas, they could bounce back, but they need some major conservation efforts put into place.
We can't wait to be the change. It's not too late, free from hate. Think of the future that we could create. Face the facts.